Imagine this: a man walks into history with no army, no wealth, and no political power. He never wrote a book. He never held office. Yet 2,000 years later, billions of people still say his name every single day. Kings have tried to erase him. Empires have fallen trying to silence him. But his story refuses to die. Who was this man? His name was Jesus Christ. And what he did in just 3 short years shook the world so deeply that we still measure time by his birth, before Christ and after Christ. Today, I want to tell you his story. Not the religious version you might have heard in church, but the raw, powerful, human story that still changes lives. The beginning, 045 to 230. Jesus was born in a small, forgotten town called Bethlehem. In a stable because there was no room for his family at the inn. Not exactly a royal entrance. He grew up in Nazareth, a carpenter's son, working with his hands, building tables and chairs while the world around him suffered under Roman rule. Most people expected the Messiah to come as a conquering warrior. But Jesus came as a servant. He didn't rally armies. He gathered fishermen, tax collectors, and sinners, the kind of people society looked down on. At 30 years old, he stepped into the spotlight. He walked along the Sea of Galilee and said to ordinary fishermen, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." And they left everything, their nets, their boats, their income, and followed him. That's the kind of pull this man had. His teachings, 2:30 to 4 o'clock. What he taught was revolutionary. In a world that said, "An eye for an eye," Jesus said, "Love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you." He told the rich to help the poor. He said the greatest among you should be the servant of all. He flipped religious rules upside down. The religious leaders loved power and control. Jesus said the kingdom of God belongs to those with childlike hearts, the humble, the broken, the sincere. One of his most famous teachings, the Sermon on the Mount, still echoes today. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. In a dog-eat-dog world, those words hit like thunder. But Jesus didn't just talk, he acted. He healed the sick, gave sight to the blind, made the lame walk, fed thousands with just 5 loaves and 2 fish. He even calmed a raging storm with a simple command, "Peace, be still." The most powerful miracle? He raised people from the dead. His friend Lazarus had been dead 4 days, body already decaying. Jesus stood outside the tomb and shouted, "Lazarus, come out!" And the dead man walked out alive. These weren't magic tricks. They were signs pointing to something bigger. That this man had authority over life and death itself. The turning point, 140 to 310. Of course, not everyone loved him. The religious leaders felt threatened. The Romans saw him as a potential rebel. His own disciples struggled to fully understand him. Then came the final week. They hailed him as king as he rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. Just days later, one of his closest friends betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. He was arrested in the middle of the night, given a sham trial, beaten beyond recognition, and nailed to a Roman cross like a common criminal. As he hung there, gasping for breath, he said words that still break hearts, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Even in his worst moment, he offered forgiveness. The resurrection, 3:10 to 4 o'clock. They buried him in a tomb. Soldiers guarded it. But on the 3rd day, the impossible happened. The stone was rolled away. The tomb was empty. Jesus had risen. He appeared to his disciples, to hundreds of people. Ate with them, talked with them. Proved he was alive. Death couldn't hold him. That single event, the resurrection, changed everything. It gave hope that death is not the end. That love is stronger than hate. That forgiveness is possible. That a new life can begin. Pause for 2 to 3 seconds. Closing message, 4 o'clock, end. 2,000 years later. Jesus Christ still stands as the most influential person in human history. His teachings shaped laws, hospitals, universities, and human rights. But more than that, millions of people still meet him personally today. Maybe you're watching this and your life feels broken. Maybe you're searching for meaning, for forgiveness, for hope. Jesus specialized in broken people. He still does. He said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." That invitation is still open. What will you do with Jesus Christ?